Fired for helping a veteran's dog? Discover the incredible moment Marines stormed in to help. Emily had always believed in the strength of community. In the small suburban town she called home, the laughter of children mingled with the sounds of neighborhood barbecues, and families watched out for one another. As a compassionate veterinary technician, she poured her heart into caring for the animals that often defined her neighbors' lives. But nothing could compare to the moment she stumbled upon Max while on her usual evening walk. Emily spotted him, a service dog lying on the sidewalk, a deep gash marring his tan fur. It was Max, Mr. Harper's beloved companion. The old veteran's life had been darkened by the shadows of war, but this loyal dog was his light. Emily rushed to his side, feeling a wave of urgency. Her hands trembled slightly as she carefully cradled Max's head, whispering soothing words. In that moment, she felt a tightness in her chest, a shared bond of struggle that transcended between a woman and a dog, both wounded in their own ways. Days turned into nights as Emily dedicated herself to Max's care, nursing him back to health with bandages, gentle treatments, and endless love. In their shared moments, she learned about Mr. Harper's past stories of bravery and heartache that painted a vivid picture of sacrifice. Her own heart ached for him, and for countless others like him who battled silent wars even in their own backyards. But then came the storm, an unexpected twist of fate when Emily's boss, cornered by wealthy clients who believed her compassionate actions could tarnish the clinic's image, fired her. The weight of injustice settled heavily on her shoulders, igniting a fire within. She couldn't sit idly by, she needed to stand up. Fueled by love for Max, and a deep-rooted conviction for the dignity of veterans, Emily launched a grassroots campaign. It wasn't just about Mr. Harper, it was about the souls who served, the dogs who stood faithfully by their sides. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As word spread through the community, local Marines marched forward with a united front, rallying behind Emily's cause. They organized a community event, a heartfelt gathering that resonated with stories of service and sacrifice. The vibe was electric, arms wrapped around shoulders and voices rose in solidarity. Neighbors began to share their tales, each one a thread weaving into a tapestry of camaraderie and resilience, and amid the excitement, Emily found herself face to face with her former boss. His greedy gaze and dismissive tone struck against the hope she felt from those around her. Tension crackled in the air as the confrontation escalated, embodying the conflict between profit-driven motives and the profound American spirit of helping one another. With anticipation buzzing in her heart, Emily prepared to deliver her speech. The crowd, ready to inspire change, made everything seem possible. But just as she took a breath, a sudden interruption sent shockwaves through the crowd, leaving everyone on edge. Would this moment tear them apart or bring them closer together? As eyes widened and hearts raced, the question hung heavily in the air: could this fight truly ignite a movement, or would the injustice of it all continue unchecked? The crowd held its breath as a figure emerged from the sea of faces, striding with purpose. Emily recognized him instantly: Lieutenant Ramirez. A former Marine, he was known around town for his infectious laughter and his deep sense of honor. But today, the smile that usually lit up his face was replaced with a serious expression. "Excuse me, everyone. I need to say something," he shouted, cutting through the murmurs. His voice was filled with conviction, and the crowd fell silent, drawn in by the urgency in his tone. But he stepped closer to Emily, his eyes glinting with determination. "Emily, your actions have motivated us. We're all here because we believe in what you're doing. But it's not just about a dog, it's about every service member who deserves respect and compassion. They've fought for us, now it's our turn." As he spoke, a shared understanding rippled through the crowd. Faces that just moments ago were filled with uncertainty began to show signs of unity. People nodded, their spirits lifting with each sincere word from the lieutenant, and Emily felt a wave of hope wash over her. "I want to propose something," he continued, glancing back at the crowd. "Let us use this moment as a launchpad. Let us organize a fundraiser not just for Max and Mr. Harper, but for assistance programs that support all veterans and their families. They deserve a voice, too." Excitement buzzed through the crowd. Conversations erupted, and Emily could feel her heart swelling. This was it. This could be the spark they needed. Yet, just as she was about to step forward and voice her enthusiasm, the crowd was interrupted again. That a voice boomed through the speakers, clearly belonging to none other than her former boss. "This is a waste of time," he shouted, eyes scanning the crowd. "The clinic doesn't need to be involved in your misguided crusade. We have businesses to protect, folks." His tone was dismissive, undercutting the budding optimism flying through the air. Gasps echoed from the crowd, and Emily watched as anger sparked in their eyes. Murmurs turned into shouts of disbelief, and before she knew it, a wave of energy surged around her. "Enough!" Emily finally shouted, stepping forward, ready to confront him head-on. Her heart pounded, but she felt the support of those around her. "This isn't about your business model anymore. It's about dignity, respect, and what it means to be a community. Mr. Harper and Max represent so much more than profit. They deserve our support." The crowd surged with energy, rallying behind her. The moment felt electric, buoyed by passion and conviction. Out of the corner of her eye, she saw Mr. Harper standing at the edge, his face lined with emotion, holding Max beside him. The sight fueled her determination, but as the din escalated, another interruption came, not from her boss, but a siren wailing in the distance. Tension filled the air anew, and everyone's eyes turned toward the approaching sound. Curiosity mixed with concern. What else might this day unveil? "Stay strong, everyone," Emily called, trying to rally their focus back. "Whatever happens next, we stand together. This fight is just beginning." As the sirens drew closer, a question hung heavy: would it unite them even more, or was it a foreshadowing of greater challenges to come? The community held its breath, ready to discover what would happen next. The sirens wailed louder now, slicing through the charged air like a knife. A fire truck roared past, its lights flashing in a chaotic dance, illuminating the faces caught in a mix of fear and hope. Emily squinted towards the noise, her heart racing. Was this just the beginning of something bigger? Lieutenant Ramirez's steady voice broke through the din. "Let us gather our thoughts, folks. Whatever's happening, we need to show our strength." He stepped closer, glancing around at the crowd. Each person caught in the moment seemed to find solace in his steadiness. Around Emily, the energy shifted from uncertainty to solidarity. She could feel it, the warmth spreading, faces lifting in shared courage. Mr. Harper still stood nearby, sweat glistening on his forehead, yet his eyes sparkled with pride for the town that was rallying around him. Max, his loyal dog, stood beside him, tail thumping softly against the ground. The crowd grew quieter as several firefighters approached, their uniforms crisp and faces serious. They moved purposefully, ushering through the throng. Emily held her breath, wondering if they were there to shut them down or to offer support. "People. Just listen for a moment," one of the firefighters called out as they reached the heart of the crowd. "We're just responding to a report. There's been concern about the situation here, but we want to assure you your voices matter. We're here helping to keep the peace." Emily's pulse quickened. The firefighter wasn't dismissive, he was acknowledging them. She exchanged glances with those beside her, sensing a shift. Not all hope was lost, but then her former boss bulldozed through them, arms wide, as if he were the gatekeeper to their dreams. "You see? This is exactly why we shouldn't waste our time. Look at what's happening." He gestured dramatically, trying to pull the focus away from their mission. "It might just lead to chaos." A chorus of displeasure rose from the gathering. Emily's heart ached with understanding. Chaos was part of fighting for what was right, it was the catalyst for transformation. Listen. This isn't just chaos, she yelled back, her voice cutting through the tension. This is our community standing together for something that matters. Lieutenant Ramirez stepped forward, his presence commanding attention. Hear her. It's not chaos if we're united in purpose. Our veterans deserve our support. If we're going to fundraise, we need to show we're worth fighting for. As he spoke, the crowd seemed to swell with life. Emily felt warmth spreading through her chest. She had wanted this rally to bring people together, but it was rapidly becoming a movement. Just as she felt the momentum shift, the previously disapproving firefighter turned to her. What are your plans moving forward? We'd like to help with the fundraiser. We're all in this together. Emily couldn't believe what she was hearing. The distance that once felt insurmountable between the supporters and that disdainful barrier of disbelief seemed to dissolve. We want to host a community event, a fair or a concert. Anything we can do to raise funds and awareness for veterans. She spoke, heart thundering, fueled by sudden clarity. The murmurs of agreement grew, as people exchanged eager glances. Emily could finally see it all coming together. The vision she had dreamed of was becoming tangible. In the back, Mr. Harper firmly gripped Max, emotion welling up in his eyes. All this because of a dog, he whispered to himself, smiling through tears. What had started as a simple call for help was turning into something monumental. It was about more than just Max, it was about recognizing the sacrifices made and showing unwavering support, but just then, another siren pierced their moment of triumph. This one was different. The harsh blare bounced off the crowd, heavy and foreboding. Emily's stomach twisted as she glanced towards the source. What now? She muttered under her breath. As the new vehicle neared, the crowd fell silent, anticipation hanging thick in the air. What revelation awaited them next? Would this event spiral out of control, or could it lead them all to an unexpected culmination? Together, they held their breath, unknowing of the path that lay ahead. The heavy sound of the siren echoed, its presence ripping through the moment like a jagged blade. Emily squinted against the blinding lights, her heart racing again as the new vehicle pulled into view. It was sleek, black, and imposing, not like any fire truck or ambulance she'd ever seen. The crowd shifted nervously, whispers danced on the wind, a shiver of doubt slithering between them. As the door swung open, a team of Marines in crisp, dark uniforms climbed out, their expressions a mix of resolve and urgency. They moved quickly, scanning the crowd before zeroing in on Lieutenant Ramirez, who stood unwavering. Emily felt a spark of hope. It was a different kind of support, one that embodied strength and camaraderie. "Lieutenant!" one of the Marines called, quickly striding forward. The weight of their seriousness was palpable. "We received reports that you might need additional assistance here. This community is special to us." Emily's breath hitched, feeling a sense of pride swell within her. The energy around her surged again. This was what they needed, people who cared enough to step in. "Thank you," she called out, unable to contain the gratitude spilling from her heart. "Our vets fought for us," the Marine continued, nodding his head in acknowledgement of the rally's purpose. "We stand ready to help however you need." "Not just for the dog," Emily shot back, a hint of defiance in her voice. "This is about all our veterans. They deserve more than just recognition, they deserve our commitment." The crowd erupted in applause, the sound brightened the air, lifting their collective spirits. "Absolutely." Mr. Harper chimed in, holding Max's collar tightly. The little dog looked on with his big brown eyes, sensing the charged atmosphere around him. "We're done waiting for change. It's time to create it." As the Marines moved to set up a planning stage, organizing quickly and efficiently, Lieutenant Ramirez gathered everyone's attention. "Let us figure out a plan," he said, filled with purpose. "We need to channel this energy into action. Emily felt her heart swell. Ideas began to fly back and forth. A fair, a concert, a barbecue, each suggestion fueled the growing excitement. The energy was contagious. People were rallying around more than just a dog. They were striving for a mission that felt like a beacon of hope, but just as they began to organize, a voice piped up from the back. "What about the permits?" Emily turned to see Karen, her former co-worker, scowling from the periphery. "You can't just throw a fair without city approval. You know that." The mood shifted. The excitement began to flicker as doubt took its place. Emily clenched her fists, feeling the unity heave slightly. "We can work through the red tape. We just need to show them how important this is," she argued, hoping to reignite the fire that had nearly consumed them. "If we show that people care, they won't ignore us." The crowd hesitated, but then nods and murmurs of agreement began to spread again, slowly gaining strength. Emily felt the walls between discouragement and determination start to crumble. Suddenly, Lieutenant Ramirez stepped back in, his gaze fierce. "What do you want to stand for? This community? Our veterans? We can't let bureaucracy stop us." But just as their spirits began to rise, a sudden flash of red and blue lights illuminated the scene again, cutting through their moment of resurgence. Another vehicle was rolling in, this one adorned with a city emblem. Emily's stomach dropped. "What now?" she breathed, dread creeping in. Would they face opposition just as hope hung in the air? Would the momentum they gathered slip through their fingers? As the car parked and the door swung open, the crowd held their breath once more, uncertainty looming like a storm cloud overhead. What were they about to face, and would it lead to a fight or a breakthrough? The answer was coming, and it would shape everything they had fought so hard for. The door opened fully, and out stepped a stout man in a neatly pressed suit. The badge on his lapel gleamed under the harsh lights, and his stern expression made the crowd's anxiety multiply. Emily braced herself, sensing the way the atmosphere shifted. It was like a room filled with helium suddenly deflating. "Good afternoon," he called out, his voice booming yet authoritative. "I'm here from the city council." He scanned the crowd, locking eyes with Lieutenant Ramirez, who stood rigidly at the front, ready to confront whatever was coming next. Emily felt a knot twist in her stomach. She recognized the figure. The man had been a constant presence in the community, often bringing the same message: rules and regulations before compassion. It was always about the permits, the paperwork. "Is this a protest or a celebration?" the man asked, eyebrows raised, glancing at the Marines. The uncertainty hung in the air like smoke, thick and suffocating. Lieutenant Ramirez stepped forward, confident. "We're rallying for our veterans and discussing future plans to support them. It's a community effort." His tone was unwavering, but Emily could see the tension building. "Plans that won't go far without the proper permissions," the city man replied sharply. "This area is off-limits for gatherings like this unless you file the appropriate paperwork." The crowd murmured, uncertainty seeping back in. Emily felt her resolve waver. It seemed like they had rallied with hope only to be faced with the harsh reality of bureaucracy. She closed her eyes for a moment, willing herself to find the words. "Sir, this isn't just about a gathering. This is about bringing our community together for a greater cause," she said, her voice gaining strength. "We're standing up for the veterans who at times feel invisible. They need our support, and we need more people to know they matter." The city official narrowed his eyes, flickering between skepticism and a hint of understanding. For a moment, Emily thought she saw a crack in his stern demeanor. "Listen, I get your passion," he said slowly. "But rules are there for a reason. We can't allow everyone to meet without limits. It becomes chaos." Courage surged inside her. "But chaos can also be a movement. We can't keep letting red tape suffocate our voices. Is it too much to ask to unite for something that actually matters?" As soon as the last word left her mouth, silence engulfed them. No one spoke, but every person present felt the weight of her challenge. A few murmured their agreement, and Emily searched for signs of support among the Marines. They stood with their hands clenched, ready to back her up. The official held up his hands in a gesture of calm. "If you want to push this forward, you'll need to go through the right channels." But he hesitated, studying all the faces before him. "I can see how important this is to you. I might be able to expedite the process. But you'll need to tone down the rhetoric. We can't have any disruptions." Emily's heart raced. "You mean we can move forward? We just have to follow the process." Hope surged again, igniting the spark of community spirit that had momentarily dimmed. "Yes, but only if it's organized, and we can safeguard it," he maintained, his eyes still scanning the crowd. Lieutenant Ramirez stepped in, determination etched across his face. "Then let us get to work. We'll outline a plan that's both respectful and impactful. Together, we can show how much we care." The response was immediate. The crowd erupted in cheers, the palpable energy washing over Emily like a wave. Emily felt uplifted, knowing that they had turned a corner. But somewhere deep inside, she wondered what hoops they would have to jump through next. "Ready to change some lives?" She spoke to the crowd. "Yes." They shouted back, yet, just before they could dive into planning, a third vehicle appeared on the horizon. This one had a different tone, a glimmer of enemy colors that sent chills through her. Who were they bringing now? Would their efforts unravel before they even began? As the new truck approached, apprehension filled the air again. What would this mean for their hopes? Would chaos loom just when they were finding their footing? Emily's heart pounded as new questions began to form. The truck rolled to a stop, and the crowd fell into an uneasy silence. Its engine idled, creating a low rumble that vibrated through the ground beneath them. Emily squinted against the harsh sun, trying to make out the figures inside. The earlier energy faded, replaced by a shared concern that pressed down on them like a lead blanket. The driver's door swung open, and a young woman jumped out, her uniform crisp and her demeanor tense. She looked around, taking in the gathering with wide eyes. Behind her, another man in combat fatigues exited the passenger side. His face was set, lips pressed in a thin line, suggesting he wasn't here for small talk. "Who are they?" Someone whispered in the crowd, and the question echoed in Emily's mind. The woman approached the city official first. "Sergeant Tang," she introduced herself with authority. "We were told there SA veterans rally here today. We're here to support." "Support how?" the official asked, skepticism returning. Then the man beside her, Sergeant Klein, stepped forward. "We heard concerns about those who fought for our freedom, but they're suffering. We want to help. Our mission is to ensure they have the resources they deserve." Emily's heart skipped a beat. There was something about their serious expressions that felt promising. But doubt lingered. What would that mean for the gathering? Would it dilute their efforts? "Help?" she echoed, stepping closer, her curiosity building alongside her discomfort. "In what way?" Sergeant Tang caught her eye, recognizing her urgency. "We're working on mental health initiatives and connecting local businesses to veterans. We've also brought some therapy animals to help ease their transition back to civilian life." As she spoke, the clouds above shifted, dimming the light just enough to signal the seriousness of their mission. Emily noticed how the crowd perked up, leaning in. It felt like a glimmer of hope breaking through the fog. "Animals?" she questioned, concern flooding her thoughts. "Do the veterans want that? Are they ready?" "The dogs are trained to handle anxiety, stress, and trauma," Sergeant Klein replied. "It's about companionship and support. It's crucial for healing." The city official remained quiet, arms crossed tightly, while murmurs flowed from the crowd. Emily could sense a ripple of uneasiness. The veterans in attendance must have been processing the unexpected arrival as well. A blend of fear and readiness. They were used to fighting battles, yet here they were, faced with something less tangible. Suddenly, a young man from the back of the crowd shouted, "Our brothers and sisters deserve this. If they've fought for us, it's our turn to stand by them. Yes. We can't just stand here." Another voice echoed. The encouragement felt electric, and Emily watched as the crowd shifted, energy rising again. These were the same faces from earlier, hearts pounding with the same fire that had prompted them to gather in the first place. She felt new hope. Perhaps this was the connection they needed. "Let us make this happen." Lieutenant Ramirez called out, his confidence now buoyed by the unexpected support. "We'll collaborate with them. Let us get organized and bring something meaningful to our veterans." Excitement began to build as people started to discuss plans, but the tension remained. Emily looked at the new arrivals, gauging their intentions. Could this collaboration truly forge a safe space for veterans and for their voices to be heard? But even as plans swirled in the air, a sense of dread settled in her stomach. Would the city council approve this collaboration? What if this wasn't what they needed after all? Buckling under the weight of uncertainty, Emily took a deep breath. As the crowd rallied, she faced a choice: would she embrace this unknown, trusting the military figures before her, or hold tight to her concerns? With her heart racing, she scanned the crowd for signs of hesitation, or determination. Would this alliance prove to be a lifeline, or would it fracture everything they had just built? The day hung in the balance as Emily realized an unexpected challenge lay ahead. Would they have what it takes to unite, or was this the beginning of the end? The discussion buzzed around Emily like a swarm of bees. Voices blended into a hum as people debated the best course of action. That initial spark of hope now danced on a precipice, and Emily knew only a strong push could send it soaring or crashing down. Lieutenant Ramirez stood at the center of the chaos, rallying those willing to collaborate while trying to ensure everyone's voices were heard. Emily's heart raced as she watched him navigate the crowd. His enthusiasm was contagious, yet the uncertainty gnawed at her. "Let us bring the meeting indoors," Ramirez suggested, his voice slicing through the noise. "We need to account for everyone's opinions before we take this further." A trickle of agreement spread through the crowd, and one by one, they began moving toward a nearby community center. Emily fell into step behind them, her mind racing. Would a simple gathering be enough? What if their ideas crumbled against harsh realities? Inside, the atmosphere shifted. The walls held history pictures of past events, moments when this community had stood together against challenges. Emily glanced around. It was as if the room itself breathed encouragement. But she battled her own turmoil, each breath deeper than the last, suffused with conflicting thoughts. A long table spread out in front of them, lined with folding chairs that creaked under their weight. As they settled in, Emily found herself sitting across from Sergeant Tang. The woman's eyes held a persistence that reassured her, and just for a moment, the fire inside Emily flickered brighter. "We're here because we know how much our veterans need support," Tang began, her voice steady yet warm. "This community has already demonstrated that it cares. Let us take that further." "What about the veterans who aren't here?" Emily interjected, searching for clarity. "How do we know they want this kind of help?" "That's where you come in," Sergeant Klein replied, leaning forward. "We want to create a dialogue. We need outreach, people who can represent those veterans and voice their needs." Questions buzzed in Emily's mind. If she took that leap, would she spread their concerns too thin? Yet, the earnestness in their expressions felt like a call to action. "Okay," she agreed, rallying her own resolve. "We can form a committee: vet representatives, community members, and you too. Let us get this structured." As the details began brainstorming, a glimmer of excitement surged through the room. Ideas flowed like water, and it felt like they were building something solid together. But outside, clouds gathered and the air cooled, warning of a storm. It mirrored Emily's apprehension as the clock ticked. Overhead, thunder rumbled, echoing unease. Suddenly, their hard-fought steps toward collaboration felt fragile, like glass. One wrong move could shatter their hopes. Just then, a loud crash snapped their focus away from the discussion. Startled, everyone turned to see a young man burst through the door, his face flushed with urgency. "You have to help. There's a veteran outside who he's in trouble." Gasps echoed throughout the room, tension climbing to dizzying heights. Emily's heart dropped. What kind of trouble? What had they missed? The moment hung heavy with dread, but even more so with anticipation. Would this mark a turning point, or would it unravel the progress they had made? As they all instinctively leapt to their feet, Emily could feel the energy shift again. Something was brewing outside, a new challenge, a test of their resolve. She clutched her chest, reminding herself that this was what they had come here for. The storm was rolling in, and so was their destiny. In that pivotal instant, she wondered, could they truly rise to meet it? The room erupted into chaos, voices overlapping as panic set in. Emily could feel every heartbeat, loud and relentless in her ears, as everyone rushed toward the door, ready to confront an urgent unknown. The young man, still standing there, saw the determination transform the faces around him. In a flash, they were no longer a group of individuals, they were a community united by a common cause. What awaited outside? Emily's mind raced with possibilities. Was a veteran truly in dire trouble, or was this a misunderstanding? She pushed through the crowd, her feet moving almost of their own accord. They had assembled to help veterans. Now, here was their chance to put that commitment to the test. As the door swung open, a gust of wind whipped through the entrance, carrying with it the scent of rain and the electricity of an impending storm. The young man gestured wildly, pointing toward the parking lot where an old truck sat, engine humming, smoke curling from under the hood. A figure slumped against its side, a middle-aged man in a worn leather jacket, his expression strained with both pain and weariness. Emily's heart sank. He looked like a soldier in need, and her instincts kicked in. "Stay together," Lieutenant Ramirez called out, his voice cutting through the rising wind. "We need to approach carefully." As they stepped out, droplets of rain began to fall, tapping against the pavement like a warning. Emily glanced at the veteran, her thoughts racing. What could she say to help? Would he even be open to their assistance? The veteran looked up, his eyes glazed, but the moment their gazes met, a flicker of recognition passed through him. He was a wanderer among those who once shared a brotherhood. A flicker of hope danced in the depths of his gaze. She took a step forward, her breath steady. "Hey, we're here for you. Can you tell us what happened?" The man winced, pulling his jacket tighter around him. "My engine gave out. I was just trying to get home, then his voice broke, and he struggled to finish." Emily felt a pang of empathy. It was more than just the truck, it was the weight of isolation, the burdens that soldiers carried long after the war ended. "Let us help him," Sergeant Tang suggested, stepping forward with authority. "You've got friends here. We'll figure this out." The brigade of community members surged closer, offering their support. Emily could sense the transformation. People rummaged through tools stored in their cars, while others held their umbrellas like shields against the pouring rain. It felt powerful. One by one, they were shedding their fears, bolstered by the very action they sought to take. As the voices normalized into a collaborative effort, the storm intensified, each clash of thunder underscoring their urgency. They sprang into action, hands working together, fixing the truck while sharing stories, small snippets of life that bridged gaps created by silence. The veteran's face, once clouded with frustration, began to display a glimmer of gratitude. Then something changed again, another loud crash. This time, it wasn't just thunder. A vehicle screeched around the corner, drawing everyone's attention. Emily turned, heart racing once more. What else could possibly come their way? In that moment, with rain drenching them and camaraderie solidifying, she thought back to her initial hesitation. They had come together, and their energy provided strength. Could this very instance redefine the narrative for those still fighting their own battles? Instinctively, all eyes were fixed on the approaching vehicle, as an unexpected figure stepped out, a figure who looked all too familiar. Emily gasped, recognizing a face that could spark yet another storm in their lives. Could this be the breakthrough they needed, or yet another challenge? As the figure emerged from the vehicle, Emily's heart dropped. It was Kate, her estranged sister, a woman she hadn't spoken to in years. The last she remembered, Kate had distanced herself from the family, fueled by a hurt that felt too heavy to carry. Now, there she stood, soaked by the rain, her face set in determination that juxtaposed their past struggles. "Emily!" Kate shouted over the thrumming rain. Emily could hardly wrap her mind around the surreal scene unfolding before her. Why was Kate here? What did she want? The unexpected reunion added a surge of tension to the air, thick and unyielding. Their community, still working with the veteran, paused at the sight of this new arrival. Whispers and curious glances exchanged between them. Emily's hand instinctively tightened around the edge of a toolbox, her internal battle raging. "Are you here to help?" Emily's voice cracked, her emotions simmering close to the surface. Kate reached them, her demeanor more fierce than friendly. "I need to talk to you, Em." She gestured to the veteran, who now watched them, confusion etched on his tired face. "But this is about now. This is about him." The veteran shifted, sensing the tension, as Emily's heart raced. Would this be the moment where they finally worked through their differences? Was their family's rift about to spill into the waterlogged street? "Can this wait?" Emily asked softly, trying to balance her need for answers with her growing concern for the man in front of her. "He needs us." Kate's gaze flickered from Emily to the veteran, her expression softening for just a second, then hardening again. "And that's why I came. You don't understand. I got fired for trying to help a veteran's dog. You've got to listen to me. It all ties back to what happened at the base. How many of us are still fighting battles we can't see?" Emily blinked, trying to digest Kate's words while keeping her focus on the task at hand. The realization hit her hard. There was a link between their past anger and the current crisis. It was all part of a greater struggle, one that echoed the very isolation they were witnessing in the veteran before them. "Just, give me a minute," Emily said, her voice barely above a whisper. Turning toward the veteran, she took a deep breath. "Sir, we're here to help. Please, sit tight. We'll fix this." At that moment, she didn't just want to mend the truck. They all needed to address the unspoken stories hiding in the shadows of their shared experience. As the rain fell heavier, soaking through to their bones, something shifted in the atmosphere. It was as if the storm had a purpose all its own, washing away the barriers that had kept people apart. "Okay, let us get back to work," Sergeant Tang instructed, rallying their focus once again. The weapons of their unity turned back onto the truck, hammers and wrenches finally becoming instruments of hope, but Emily's heart remained divided. She could sense the urgency behind Kate's words, a calling to confront their own history amidst helping others. The veteran's tension eased slightly, as he listened to hushed conversations, feeling the camaraderie building around him. Just then, a loud bang echoed through the parking lot, a backfire from the truck they thought was mending. The sound sent a shiver through everyone, and panic flickered in the eyes of the people gathered. "What now?" someone shouted. Emily's stomach tightened as she glanced between the veteran and Kate. Answers seemed just out of reach, tangled in the chaos of the storm, their lives entwined in ways she thought were long buried. Would they be able to face the battle together, or would this storm tear them apart? As the rain poured, an unexpected truth loomed on the horizon, waiting to emerge amidst the falling droplets. The fight wasn't just for the veteran, it was for healing friendships, for understanding, for redemption. What would it take for Emily to embrace her past and the battle that lay ahead? Could she summon the courage to confront not just the problems surrounding them, but the ones within? As the rain lashed down, Emily felt the weight of the storm pressing on her shoulders, weather and emotions alike, all twisted into one overwhelming moment. The crowd, a mix of concern and determination, buzzed around her, but her heart was tethered between two worlds, the community she loved and the strained ties with her sister. "Let us focus on the fixes," Lieutenant Ramirez urged, guiding people back into action. We can't lose sight of what brought us here. Every hammering echo against metal sparkled with hope. Emily sensed the camaraderie bubbling up, flowing around her like warmth from a fire on a winter night. But then, those words from Kate echoed in her mind. How many of us are still fighting battles we can't see? That resonated deeply. Emily glanced at the weary veteran slumped against his truck. His eyes were filled with a mix of weariness and gratitude, reflecting the burdens he'd carried. He was a vital thread in the tapestry they were weaving, and Emily refused to let any of them unravel. She crouched beside him, determination flooding her heart. "Sir, is there anything we can do right now to make you more comfortable while we sort out the truck?" His gaze flickered to her, the ghost of a smile gracing his lips. "Just being here it helps," he replied, voice hoarse but steady. In that instant, Emily felt a true connection unfold. It wasn't just a moment of compassion, it was a very realization of how they all shared this journey of healing. Just then, a small bark broke through the tension. A friendly, brown furry face appeared, tail wagging like a flag of hope. "Max?" Mr. Harper exhaled, his smile breaking through the storm like a sunbeam. Emily glanced up to see Max racing toward her, as if sensing the urgency and gravitas of the moment. She knelt, welcoming him with open arms, tears brimming in her eyes. As the dog nudged her shoulder, she felt the warmth of connection echo through her chest. Here was love on four legs, love that transcended their struggles, healing their hearts silently, yet profoundly. "Let us refocus," Emily shouted, standing tall, her voice firm. "Together, we rise." That mantra spread like wildfire through the crowd, escalating into a chorus of agreement. With renewed energy, they jumped back into action, tools clanging purposefully and laughter bursting amidst the chaos. Some locals gathered tools while others juggled sandwiches and drinks for the veteran, their hearts echoing with community spirit. In the middle of it all, Kate stood watching, emotions brewing in her chest. Emily felt her sister's eyes on her, a simmering energy sparking something she thought had long died. "Kate," Emily called out, her voice even despite the drumming rain. "Will you help too? We're all fighting battles. Every hand counts." Kate stepped forward, the tension easing a fraction as a knowing smile crept onto her face, a flicker of hope amidst that stormy day. "What can I do?" "Help me reach out to the veterans," Emily replied, her voice softer now. "There are many stories to tell, let us gather them together." If she could open that door, maybe they could bridge the chasm between them. And as they worked alongside each other, side by side with the veteran and the Marines, building something greater than themselves, feelings of unity surged. The truck roared to life, a mechanical heartbeat aligning with their own. Cheers erupted amidst the downpour, uniting the crowd in celebration. They had done something good, they were making a difference. "Not just for today," Lieutenant Ramirez added, the pride swelling in his voice. "This isn't an end, this is the beginning. We're just getting started with real change." Emily's heart soared. Not just for the community, but for her sister too. Maybe, just maybe, they could finally heal together. A couple of hours passed, full of laughter and collaboration, reconnecting the threads of their stories. Gradually, everyone began to drift away, some with schedules to honor while others decided to linger a little longer, talking and enjoying that newfound sense of connection. As darkness fell, Emily stood under the lamp, watching the smiles bubble up among her neighbors. A sense of warmth and comfort settled deep within her. "Hey," Kate spoke up, breaking through the comfortable silence. "Can we talk?" "Yeah," Emily replied, her heart racing but steeling herself to face the truth they had avoided for so long. In that moment, beneath the canopy of stars twinkling through the clouds, they began to bridge the gap between them. Surrounded by laughter and joy, they were all united under the same stars, much like their shared mission, and as they talked, shrouded in the warmth of forgiveness and understanding, Emily knew this was more than just a day of victories, it was a lesson of transformation, one that resonated in the hearts of each individual they had touched. "Together, we can make a difference," she thought, and it felt just right. So here's the thing, folks, if you want to keep riding this wave of transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm some uplifting energy, and comment below your feelings about this ending. Don't hesitate, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this journey. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let us keep this community thriving.